Okay, so in this video, we'll talk about adding volunteers to the organization. Remember, we're back in community care as an administrator, so we see several options, menu options down the left-hand side. So in this particular case, let's go back to the volunteers tab. We can see a list of people that are currently in the organization. Let's go to Fred, for instance. Fred has already uploaded an image. We can see that he's verified by email. He's using the Android app and he's logged into the web. In the event Fred would like to use kiosk mode, we know the current quick pin, which means we can tell him when he arrives on site so that he'll be able to use that to log in with the kiosk that we've set up with our organization, but we can't change that. You can see I'm trying to click on that. It's grayed out, so I can't change that because his account is locked. I'm not able to make changes. Now, let's say someone either phoned or walked into our organization and would like to join up. Let's add a new volunteer and let's put them in a list, and let's call that list maybe the to be vetted list because we don't know anything about them yet. Let's put them somewhere where we won't be scheduling them for any shifts yet. So all we need to do is enter a first name and a family name. In fact, we don't need an email address or a mobile number. If we can get those, that's great, but there may be people who don't use technology but would still like to volunteer for our organization. So let's create that person. Okay, so what we can see here is we can see that they're not active and we have access to be able to edit their account. So they don't have a username, their status is inactive, and we can see that they're currently on the to be vetted roster. And what this means is that we can, because we can edit, we'll be able to enter an address for them or an email address. And of course, we can enter some information maybe from the interview that we have. But in this particular case, we've been able to create a volunteer that is not currently in the system and added it to our organization. Now, let's move on to a situation where someone is already in the system but not connected to our organization. Say they've already created an account and they're volunteering for another organization. We can add someone that way. Let's say it's someone else that we'd like to interview. Let's go back to the to be vetted roster. We can see that Bill Clinton is already on there. We just added him. And let's say someone says, look, I'm already on the system and my email address is this. We must enter the email address exactly of someone who is not in the system or not in our organization. And the reason for that is security purposes doesn't allow organizations to go fishing with just entering a few letters and trying to get a list of volunteers. The address must be put in exactly or the information will not show up. So we can see that once I've entered it correctly, I'm able to see that. So we could just click on this area and that volunteer would be added. Let's go ahead and do that. So that's the other way. This volunteer is already in the system. We've just added them to our organization, in this particular case to our to be vetted roster because we'd like to interview them. So that's the two different ways that you can add volunteers to your system.